Hi, and thanks for tuning in to our live radio show. Moments of Clarity with Tiffany will begin in just a few moments. Please stay tuned. Kindly take this opportunity to share this show on your platforms because change can only come when we stand together as one, especially when it comes to ending the stigma on mental health.
You are not alone, and help is out there.
Kids have mental health issues, and we also need to learn coping skills.
Let's get started and let the show begin. See you soon.
Don't put yourself down, time for a change. Believe in yourself, time to rearrange. Be your best friend, bring hope to your day. Lose your critic, get out of your way. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity. To yourself be kind, it will please your mind. Find your joy, trust in you. Put in the time, you'll see how you grow. Many kinds of love you get to define. Find self-love, you're so alive. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I'm Tiffany Warner. I am a licensed mental health counselor and your host. And today we're going to have a wonderful discussion with an old friend of mine that also has an award-nominated book, his own transformational style of healing, does life coaching, couples healing, and retreats, and all sorts of stuff. And is really funny as well as kind. And this is my informal introduction to Michael Sherman, but we'll let Ed unmute. And
I can hear you guys.
You can't hear me? You can't hear me?
Hello? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
But we're that was all.
And more. Their expert guests are in the know and in the now. To learn more about this unique program and its hosts, tune into the show on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hello?
Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hello and welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name's Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I'm your host. And today we're going to be speaking with an old friend.
How's that?
Coach.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Let me introduce you first, Michael. Can you hear me? Once again, we're having technical.
I can hear you now.
Hold on 1 second. Anyway, let me say hi to Ed and Tan Talk Radio.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. You can hear me.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, so my guest is having difficulty hearing me, and I don't know And he heard me fine before we went live, so I don't understand what this is.
Can you make sure he's not muted, I guess? I don't know.
He's not muted. No, well, he's having trouble hearing me. I can hear him just fine.
I'm just saying on his own computer there that he's not muted at the bottom. That his volume is not muted.
Right, that's what I'm thinking, but I can't seem to tell him that. But he helped me in the private chat, so I can just introduce him and help him do that so I can do my show. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for watching.
I can't hear you guys. I don't know what it is.
You can't tell him, Ed, because he can't hear.
I know. Can he see the private chat or
Yes,
what?
yeah, he can see that. So that's what I'm asking your help for. So I can
I'm going to try that right now.
All right, thanks. Oh, this is fun. So, how's everyone doing out there? My guest today, when he's able to hear me, is a writer, transformational life coach for individuals and for couples. And I'm going to do this just so that you don't have to like watch them comically. Anyway, the individuals and couples and a corporate wellness trainer for leadership and communication. He's a certified Imago Dialogue Educator. And Imago is like mirroring therapy, and an expert in mirroring communication practice for wellness, well-being, and energy. He's taught workshops on mirroring on both coasts and had mirroring clients from all over the United States and the world. He's the author of a book called The ZEN of Solo Travel, A Journey from Anxiety to Enlightenment. And he's the creator of a sacred solo journey method of personal healing and transformation, sending students on solo journeys, both close to home and in parts of the globe. And he's going to be talking about an online retreat as well later. And well, if he can hear us. And this is actually okay. And welcome to Moments of Clarity, Michael Sherman. But if you can see us virtually. Michael, he was able to hear me before when we went live. I don't know. It's kind of funny. This kind of stuff is just.
Do you know if he's using earbuds or anything, or did he mute those? Or
I said hi to him. We had a conversation. It went live, and now he's just like. But I wonder if he realizes that he's live and doing this into the camera.
Well, yeah, he's also talking too. I hope he doesn't give away any national secrets or anything like that.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, he has designed Sacred Solo Travel. I guess we could just go to our first break, and I'll just try to figure this out. Maybe he has to log out.
Maybe he can leave and then come back again and see if that does anything.
Yeah, let's set our first break. Everyone, thanks for watching and tuning in, and bear with us. And we'll be back with Moments of Clarity after this. Please stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hello, my name is Lucy Lopes, and I'm a real estate agent that supports ending the stigma on mental health with Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I am also passionate about helping you buy or sell your home. With times being so difficult, I'm here to help. Contact me at lucylopes.com. That's LUCYLOPES.com. Let me assist you through this pandemic and know that you are not alone.
Hi, this is Tiffany Werner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Werner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
Are you looking for a great book? If you like to root for the underdog, Joe Potosi's book is a book for you. A real American Odyssey that will grab your attention with its fast-moving narrative. You won't be able to put this masterpiece down. When the Dust Settled by Joe Potosi. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Zulin Press.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, and welcome back to Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're going to be talking about the value of really taking time for ourselves, sacred value of being able to take time to ourselves, spend time, self-care, but not only that, but really get to know who we are through solo travel, meaning going on a vacation alone. And my expert here, I'm just having trouble connecting with him. He wrote the book, The ZEN of Solo Travel, and it's Jason Sherman. He's an author, coach, and teacher. And just having technical difficulties. He's leaving the restream and joining back in. But so when I first met Michael, it was kind of funny because he had written this whole book about the Zen of solo travel. And he was talking about how he discovered his life journey. As I said, it looks like. He discovered his life journey. Let me see if he's here.
Can you get it that way?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So anyway, what I was saying is,
There we go. I'm on my phone now, so that's what we did. Well, but no, what happened? Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But
how's that?
Let me just finish my show. Like, I'm introducing you. So, okay. But yes, we can finally hear you.
Yeah.
So I was saying, when I first met you, you had written this wonderful book, and I had a picture of it up here. And that there was a time right before that I had gone to Chicago and just got lost and took a cab back to my hotel. And it was one of the most exhilarating experiences where I just shopped and just walked around and had no idea in a town that I was in, like where I was going and everything. And life definitely, when you have time to like get lost within a city or something like that, you don't have time to worry about stuff because you're trying to figure out where you're going and how you're getting there and all that. But so anyway, back to Michael Sherman. But now for a second I thought you were frozen.
No, I'm here.
Oh, so happy to see you here. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about yourself now that I can have you do it instead of me, and
sure.
You can hear and everything.
Cool. So hi everybody. My name is Michael Sherman. And I am a life coach and workshop leader, and I'm an author. I wrote this book called The Zen of Solo Travel, A Journey from Anxiety to Enlightenment. And like Tiffany was telling you, what I did over the past 15 years is create this process, which I call the sacred solo process. And what I do with people, with clients, is we work together to develop, to really understand, like, what is it that you're struggling with? What is it that are ongoing problems? What is it that you're facing in your life that is a very, very stuck place and triggering place, relationships, work, so on and so forth, and really getting to the core of old emotional patterns that seem to be incongruent with who you really are. Okay, so what we do then with the sacred solo process is we design an experience that you could go somewhere alone, and that we have the focus being on the idea of leaving. That leaving is not just a physical act to do through this process, but it's a psychological act. And that's so much of the things that we get stuck in, the patterns, just say the ongoing things within a relationship, and that they sort of the iceberg below the surface of the depth that is not fully being expressed, but comes out in reactivity, or comes out in a very, very stuck, difficult, chronic situation. So what we're trying to do is have people to have an experience of leaving, not necessarily like you're leaving and I'm breaking up with someone or I'm leaving a job, although that can happen, and that certainly does happen through
That
people
happens a
taking
lot
these
for some
journeys.
people. Honestly, like a lot of people, a lot of my clients are always like, I just want to pack up and run away to Georgia or just run away to somewhere. Like, and that's running from something, but also feeling bombarded by their own situation, feeling
Right.
stuck or overwhelmed or over just
Right. So
like they
what we're trying to do is get the focus on leaving as a process and not necessarily having to take the major action, but to sort of taste the feeling of release. And the road gives us that. So what we can do is when we get and we take one of these journeys, that our focus once we get in the car is telling ourselves it's as if I'm leaving and not coming back. Now we want people to come back, but what we're trying to do is get them to taste an experience with them and their soul so that they're able to detach from these patterns, and that the road creates this kind of psychological experience of emotional release. And then while they're out there, perhaps there's something that we need to accomplish on a psychological level. Maybe we need to write someone, maybe we need to bring something out there to do a hike and bury something. We just had a client who had significant trauma as a child and never really had created a connection between him and his inner child. So this hurt inner child has been hurting him in different relationships along the way. So we had him get a doll and put an old t-shirt from his childhood on the doll and drive hours away into the mountains, where he had a very powerful experience with himself, a very, very healing experience with himself, simply by having this entity as a physical entity to create a psychological experience of reconnection and integration with a wounded self. So those are the kinds of things that we do with people with the sacred solo process.
So we kind of lost you for a second, but
Sure.
you said you put a t-shirt on a doll, you drove out into the mountains, and then
Wasn't me, it was a client. Okay, so one of my
some
clients,
doll is sitting out in the mountains, and someone's gonna find it and be like, I wonder why I'm supposed to find this doll.
yeah, perhaps that could be the sort of like the sequel to the movie. But honestly, when I say movie, what we're trying to give people is something of a cinematic experience of themselves, meaning that we're trying to detach them from their lives and then allow them to have an experience where there's a kind of a symbolic nature to reality. The road does that for us. The road immediately creates a movie-like experience, because when we do these trips, there's a beginning, a middle, and end. There's a story, and the structure of a story leads to awakenings, leads to very powerful understandings, leads to a lot of emotional release. And then if we add to it like a psychological act, like, okay, take a shirt from your childhood when you were hurt, and put that on the doll and drive the doll with you for hours. It's as if your own child is with you, and an entirely different relationship between you and you happens. You're starting to sort of parent yourself out there on the road. And the important thing is that your mind gets this. This isn't about like, okay, I'm talking to a doll and now I'm a weird person. It's about the way that our unconscious has its language of its own. And when we perform actions such as leaving everything behind and taking to the road, our unconscious is listening, and that
Okay, so
creates a
that's a little
great.
easier for those of you guys that live in San Francisco or not so much Florida, because we don't have mountains nearby or anything like that. But and the
It's
drive,
all about this though. There's road
it's all
everywhere.
therapy as well, like writing your letter to your young self and shredding it, or giving some
Yep.
piece of that sort. Not all of us have, and then I work a lot with adult survivors of abuse and childhood abuse and things like that. And of course, healing and working on it is very, very crucial for developing healing and to reach the full potential in life that we want to let go of those old undeserved shame, undeserved guilt, things that carry forward when children feel that they've done wrong, or children feel that they should have done something different, or they felt at fault and it's not their fault. So there's a lot of things such as that. But not everyone has a piece of clothing or an article from when they were a child. So that there's a
Well,
lot of
it doesn't matter. You can access anything that has power to you, anything that has meaning to you, and you don't have to necessarily bring anything. The key is that you're taking some time to behave in a way that your subconscious is going to awaken or understand you, that you're getting out of the context of stuck life. You're getting out of the context of stuck life in work, stuck life in a relationship, stuff like from your parents or your children, and you're practicing leaving. You're practicing a very, very powerful attachment. So it's not about breaking up necessarily. It's about the feeling of freedom that comes from that leaving, from that action that you feel on a very deep level. And it sort of allows the entire psychological system to recalibrate, because when we're in these stuck places, we don't feel the full mandala of ourselves. We don't, if you're in a job that is, a very not a good fit for you, it's going to contain your energy. You're never going to feel expressed. You're never going to feel necessarily safe or seen or any of those things. And so what we're trying to do is create the conditions where you get what you want. You're creating something for yourself that you're the one who feels the benefit, and you develop an entirely new relationship with yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, everyone needs a different type of therapy. Not one type of therapy works for other people.
I agree.
And I know that there's a lot of people that have gone above and beyond, and done drugs and like done Burning Man or like peyote or whatever to try to resurface these memories, or gone to talk therapy or EMDR or retreats and things like that to find and finally figure out who they are, and to find themselves. Because a lot of us, we all at times are trying to find out who we are, and often it takes something extreme to figure out, like for example, what would we be like in a crisis? We could all say, I would be the one running into a burning building and saving children, whatever. But then a burning building happens and you're knocking over grandmas and children and getting out of there, or something like that. Or how we face trauma, how we handle things. Some people say,
Right.
I don't know what I would do if that ever happened to me. Well, you know what? When it happens, our instincts kick in and we figure that selves out. But the healing part of it is that a lot of clients say, I went to therapy once, it didn't work. Well, you tried the wrong kind of therapist or the wrong kind of therapy. And there's a lot
Right.
of things that maybe you need more of an enriching thing, more of a fulfilling thing, or more or less of one. I don't know. A couple of my clients went to Spain, and there's a walk, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's like a 30-mile walk or whatever through these mountains and it's a journey. Like that's kind of what you're getting at. And they stay at hostels and then they keep going, and it's one of those fulfilling things as well, along the lines of what you're saying, and it is off
I
a
think
bucket.
I think the key thing that I'm trying to add to the conversation is the idea of taking your therapy beyond the psychotherapy office. That I think that there's all kinds of modalities like you're talking about. There's one-on-one, there's groups, there's retreats, there's seminars, there's books, all of that. But ultimately you have to deal with yourself. And so what I'm trying to teach people is not so much like you have to go really, really far away to have an awakening, but you have to get an emotion. I want to have people to take themselves and put themselves into some other environment and really feel the psychological healing of the road. That the feeling of being on the road, it's almost like like that. When you have a child and you put the baby in the back seat and the baby falls asleep in the car seat. Like I'm trying to create that feeling for people, though you have to drive, but it's the idea that the construction of a journey beforehand, that we're dealing with your stuff and then we're sending you out there, that you're sort of carrying yourself, that you're allowing yourself to be that baby in the car seat in your own life, that you're giving yourself a kind of soothing experience that comes from just being alone, being on the road, and ideally immersing yourself in nature. So we can go to France and we can go to Spain or any of these things. And we had one client who did, a woman, she was in her 50s at the time. She did a 3-month sacred solo around the world. She started from New York, went to Hawaii, went to, where did she go? Vietnam, Cambodia, Bhutan, Uganda, Israel, France, Italy, back home for 3 months. And most of it, 80% of it, she was alone. 80% of it, she was alone. But then other people go and they just take a drive for an hour, and it's just like everything just opens up and breaks through. And then they come back and they have this kind of quality of awakening and understanding that they couldn't get in a therapy office, because you're always dealing with engaging with the relationship with the therapist. There's a lot of great therapists out there, and there's some therapists out there that are not so hot. And regardless of the two, that it's almost like online dating when you're looking for a therapist. Like, you know, maybe it's a fit, maybe it's not a fit. It really, to me, it's like that. Well, you're always dealing with the other
the
person's.
therapist has to make sure that they're the right fit for the client as well.
Correct. You know, like you're dealing with when you're with a therapist, you're dealing with everything about them. You're entering their energy field, you're entering their education, their approach, all of that. And sometimes it could be incredible and an incredible bond, and you know, you're getting great knowledge and you're being seen, all of that. But I think the ultimate therapist is your soul and nature. And so I think the quality of learning that comes from someone when you experience a leaving, when you intentionally say, I'm going to leave this relationship right now, and you're still in it. You're married, you're coming back, you know that, but I'm leaving. It's like I'm carving out this avenue of light that I created for myself so that I can understand how I tick on the inside, which recalibrates you and gives you an entirely new perspective when you return to those relationships.
Right. So, Michael, I think I forgot to ask you because of our technical difficulties, but
sorry about
you
that.
came up with this and are so passionate about this because you did it once yourself. Hence the book, The Zen of Solo Travel.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of writing the next one.
Briefly about that before our next break, and then talk about what's coming up with that. Like,
sure.
How did that work for you?
Talk about the book?
Talk about your journey. You went to Japan.
Talk about my journey. Yeah.
I want the McDonald's teriyaki. I want the Subway. I want you dropping fries on the Subway.
Here's the book. The Zen of Solo Travel, A Journey from Anxiety to Enlightenment. In this book, you see the Buddha there and you see the bullet train. This is all Japan. So what I was, how old? 34 at the time. And I was married and we did not have kids at that point. And I was going through all kinds of internal issues, and I was going through all kinds of issues in the marriage, and I did not know if I was ready to be a father. And we were considering adoption, and I just needed to deal with myself. So I said, I need to go as far away as I can as possible. And I flew to Japan. And I had spent about a decade studying Aikido martial arts, which is a very harmonizing, energy-based martial art. And I felt it was almost going to be something of a homecoming for me to go to Japan. So what I did is I flew there and spent about 4 days in Tokyo, 2 days up in Sendai in the north, and then I went to Kyoto in the south, towards the south, with their Buddhist temples and all of their wonderful exhibits. And what happened is I just kind of allowed myself to surrender to the rhythms of this entirely different world. It was almost like I was on another planet. Just the intensity of being there by myself as this personal experiment. And yeah, everything was an awakening. Like, how am I going to eat? Like, where do I eat? What are the foods? How do I communicate with them for the food? There was a moment where that first morning where I had to figure out how to order food at one of these little sort of places that serves, sushi and chicken teriyaki. And it's like, oh, you look at the menu on the wall and there's all these pictures of foods that I cannot understand. And the woman is like yelling at me to put coins into a machine, which I figured out. And I put the coins in the machine. I pull out a ticket for, I don't know what I'm going to get. And it was just like 18 hands of an octopus where like, one hand was giving me a glass, another hand was wiping the table, the other hand was giving me chopsticks, the other hand was giving me the teriyaki, and everybody was just sitting there silently in the morning, and I was just part of it. And I just said thank you, and I ate, and I was like, I'm in Japan now. And then within 10 days, I almost felt a little bit Japanese. I had done so many things. I had gotten myself in so many situations that were amazing, that I felt like I could stay here. And for me, once I got that, that's when I knew I was ready to leave. And now I have 2 children. I live on the West Coast. I'm not married anymore, but everything is copacetic. But all of that came from me personally. The awakening that led me to say yes to being a parent came from that journey for myself.
Weren't
The
you
one
on
other,
the metro, or that's where the train is on the cover of the book, or the metro
yeah,
that you
that's
were
not
on
the Met,
there,
that's the
and
Shinkansen. That's a bullet train. That's a
okay,
train
a
that
bullet
goes
train.
250 miles an hour.
You met a little girl that made you just like awaken and want that child.
Yeah, there was a moment, there was a day where everything was going wrong. I didn't realize I should have made another reservation at the hotel. I had to move all my stuff, this and that. It was terrible, and I was in a bad state. And so I realized, let me just get out of Tokyo, and I took a train down to Kamakura, which is famous for this giant Buddha statue and all these incredible Buddhist temples and so on and so forth. So now my whole energy is different. I feel a quality of serenity. I feel a purpose of the trip, and so on. And I get inside this train to come back north into Tokyo, and there are all these, middle school kids, and I was a middle school teacher at the time, and they're sitting there and they're playing, and I was sort of ignoring them. And I had, McDonald's and my McTeriyaki burger with me on the seat next to me in the train, which is incredibly bad etiquette in Japan. Like I was the ugly, terrible American eating McDonald's on a train, which in America wouldn't be so bad, but in Tokyo was horrible. And this not little, but she was, I found out later she was 13. This young lady comes and walks into the train car, and she sees her friends across the way, and then she sees me, and she asked me if she could sit down, and I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting next to her, and she tells me, I used to live in New Jersey. And I'm like, wow, I live in New Jersey. And she goes, well, I was a kid in a middle school. And I was like, I teach middle school English. And she's telling me how she wishes her family lived in New Jersey for a year, and that she wishes she was back there because in Japan, people teach facts, but in New Jersey, they taught about feelings. And that completely blew my mind, that this little girl was actually had the gumption to sit next to me. It was totally not a Japanese thing for her to do, but she had enough confidence in her to sit next to me. And when it was time for her to get off the stop, we had bonded so much, and I realized, oh, that was like the universe telling me, yes, go ahead and adopt a child when you get back home. It was just a moment like that gave me, like, you're getting permission through this extraordinary moment, and you're being told the path is in front of you, and you're being given the breadcrumbs that you need to follow on the path from a beautiful moment like that that happened in Japan 15 years ago.
You were looking for signs as well. You had your
Yeah, they're not just signs. I mean, like, even later that day, I remember, and it's in the book. Later that day, I again had another sort of psychological collapse, and I'm wandering around the train stations at night. Everything's confusing. I can't understand anything. I'm like, what am I doing here? And this is the kind of thing that happens in sacred solos. It's like there's a little bit of a detachment from your own personality sometimes, which there's a risk factor to that, but it all recalibrates. And the way that recalibrated was I just got on a train. I didn't even know where I was going. I just get on a train in Japan. It's like 9 o'clock at night. And there's this American guy sitting there reading this big history book. And he starts talking to me, and he says, we're getting off at the same train stop. And he buys me a drink, and he hears my story. And he tells me that he's married to a Japanese woman, and he's about to adopt a child, a special needs child. And he looks at me, and he's like, what you're doing is incredible. You have everything you need to be a dad. Go for it. And that was it. That was what I needed. It was like that day was the birth of my daughter for me.
Moment of clarity, right?
100% moment of clarity, you know? And we need those things outside of our environment in order to have something surreal to sort of shake us into an awakening. It doesn't always, these things are happening in real life, but we don't see them because we're so attached to patterns and attached to relationships and attached to the way we're defending ourselves. When we leave, we break through those attachments, and there's all these wonderful things that are coming our way when we're in that kind of natural well-being state.
We just have to learn to like listen and follow our intuition, but listen to the signs of the universe around us sometimes. Like,
yeah, to be open that there's a dialogue happening, and that dialogue is happening all the time. And the way that dialogue happens in real life is through our feelings. And our feelings are telling us what we really need. But when things are very complicated on the outside and when the feelings are very challenging on the inside, then the road and the movement and the slowing down and the self-appreciation and the being in nature and the sort of sense that there's a flow state that you can access, then those things kind of, the emotions then start giving us information that's more clear because we're able to achieve that well-being state.
We have to stop and smell the roses, like some people say. And a lot of people are so worried about the end of the journey that they're not enjoying the journey, you know. And
it's hard for people. It's when I practice this meditation, there's a meditation that I do, and
we're
if we
gonna get
want
to
after
that in a second. It's time for a second break, and I
You
want
got
to
it.
hear about the retreat and everything that coming up. And
Fantastic.
but let's do that, and then let's hear about what's coming up. But
Sounds good.
thank you for sharing what amazing journey.
I appreciate that.
And we'll be back with moments of clarity in just a moment. Please.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
If you are like most people, you worry with the financial challenges you face today. How do you protect your family from financial ruin? How will you reduce your liabilities and get out of debt sooner? And how can you deal effectively with the constant changes in your job, your career, and your business? Overcoming your financial challenges is like building a house. You must build from the ground up. You must learn how to make more money, save more money, grow your money, and protect your money. Forever Forward Financial specializes in teaching you these 4 basic money skills so you can achieve your dreams and end your worry. Call us today and schedule your complimentary, no-obligation meeting to discuss your needs and concerns. Call Scott Bigley at 727-422-7761.
Hi, this is your host, Tiffany Warner from Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I want to thank you for all your support on ending the stigma on mental health for over the past 7 years and with over 600 episodes, as well as several award nominations and placing as a finalist in 3 categories on the People's Choice Podcast Award last year. If you're listening to this on audio, please visit and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Moments of Clarity with Tiffany and enjoy viewing previous shows in case you missed any live. If you're interested in advertising and would like to promote your company, it is affordable and an effective way to get your company the attention it deserves. I also welcome potential guests as well, and all information can be found on my website at mocwithtiffany.com. Thank you again for your continued support, as change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today, I have a wonderful guest, Michael Sherman, who has not only taken a solo travel of himself and written a book about it, and it's amazing. The Zen of Solo Travel, a journey from anxiety to enlightenment, and is passionate about the fact that sometimes we have moments of clarity when we have time to actually process our thoughts, think to ourselves, and work on ourselves without any clutter or voices and other people telling us what to do. And welcome back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany, Michael Sherman.
Thank you.
I do have clients and other people that I know that they have a problem, and then they either spend time in the bathroom or take a shower or go somewhere really quick, and they come back and I just thought of this idea, or and that's 5 minutes sometimes, just to themselves, going to the bathroom or taking the shower or just time alone.
Yeah, see, what's really happening is that people, human beings, are always in dialogue. Okay, that we are in dialogue with ourselves as much as we are in dialogue with others. And when we allow ourselves to find a receiving state, then we're going to get the inspiration that we need. We're going to get the moment of clarity that we need, and it might not be what we want. Meaning, we oh, tell me, is she going to call me back? What's going on? And if you get to that, you might not get, what you think you want, but you will be told what's coming if you're able to get yourself into a receiving state.
Right. But we have to receive it, right?
Right. And that's why, the whole concept of leaving is a way to enter the receiving state, that really detaching from patterns, detaching from people, detaching from substances, and allowing ourselves to intentionally leave. You talk about when you do meditation practices, I've heard it, I've been in meditations where they say, like, imagine that there are clouds passing through your mind, or just allowing your thoughts
Those are
to
guided
pass through your
imagery,
mind.
right?
Correct. So what that is doing is allowing yourself to connect to flow state, to connect to a state of the universe expanding. And, the world is in a state of constant flow of energy. And the process of leaving just kind of, sort of like sliding you in. It's almost like when you think of a merry-go-round, right? Leaving is a way of like grabbing onto the merry-go-round of life energy. That when we detach from things, that there's this energy field that's moving through us, and we're able to kind of, sort of surf on that energy field when we leave behind these attached dynamics. And we can do a little process right now if you want, tiny little guided imagery of leaving for your audience. We talked about that before. Do you want me to give that a shot with you guys?
Yeah, okay, but keep in mind you've got about 10 minutes before we have to, like,
So I'll do it in like
use
just
your time wisely, because you want to promote your summer
absolutely.
retreat.
So if
Yes,
I would invite your
what you
audience,
want.
so it'll take like maybe 30 seconds.
Okay.
Just
So
allowing yourself to come back to your breath and noticing your breathing. And as you're breathing, giving yourself the opportunity to imagine yourself in a car and the road in front of you, and simply giving yourself permission to feel as if you're leaving everything behind. Just allowing that sense of forward motion to give you a feeling of momentum, giving yourself the grace of leaving everyone and everything behind. You're going to come back, it's okay, but feel that precious moment of leaving and taking a breath into that and into your body, and returning to this moment of our conversation, just taking a tiny little taste of that sense of leaving, and breathing, and then sensing what that was for you and what you got from that little moment.
which works for a lot of people. I wonder how many people felt anxiety from imagining leaving their home or family, and how hard that must have been.
Yeah.
Imagining that. I'm happy that you said, don't worry, you come back. But how many people, when I have clients and I say list of priorities or whatever, even the cats are on a higher list of priority than themselves. Like, well, I got
Right.
the cats and whatever that are more important to them than themselves. And
that lands on me as people who are attached to viewpoints about themselves that are inaccurate. And so the process of leaving is to leave behind that viewpoint that you have of yourself, to allow yourself to say, oh, I don't have high self-esteem consciously. I'm just going to notice that, and I'm going to get in the car and see what happens.
Right. Or they put everyone before themselves, and they don't take time. And so this would be very enriching to make a point to put yourself first when you're
Correct.
not used to it.
Correct. And then put yourself first and then realize, wow, I'm really a lot more than I thought I was. Because
Or
that's what
this is fun.
winds up
This is
happening.
one of the reasons I own a convertible.
Ah,
Like those hours, just the time to drive, just to top down and listen to my favorite music and just
fantastic.
drive, you know.
So let me tell your viewers what's
Yeah, so we
happening
have
in
10
terms
minutes.
of
Tell about your retreat.
learning.
You were listening.
So
All of
right
it
now
is in
it's
the show description.
July. Say what?
All the links are in the show description below. And we'll share them more as we promote the show as well.
Terrific. The main thing I want people to know about is this online retreat that I'm teaching in August. It's called the Sacred Solo Online Retreat. So there it is. Beautiful. Thank you, Tiffany. So what that is, it starts August 16th and it goes to August 21st. It's about a week of learning. What we do is we take on Zoom sessions in the evening. Each person is going to design their own solo journey, their own experience, whatever they can do. It doesn't have to be some massive trip, but it's more about dealing, the class is really about dealing what's happening with you in your real life. And then we design a journey that helps you to feel like you're leaving it to experience a powerful moment by yourself. Over the weekend of the course, then we encourage people to actually go, that they actually take journeys, even if it's just taking a drive, even if it's walking in the forest. But for some people, maybe they're able to get away and stay overnight at a hotel, or they're able to take a really powerful weekend trip by themselves and get up into the mountains or the ocean or into the city, whatever it is. But it's something that we design and that it has structure and a purpose when you're out there, because that's what the class is about, is preparing you for that. And then by the end of the week, after everybody's gone on some kind of beautiful sacred journey, we come back Sunday night, we have one more class, and we have this graduation class that reflects upon what we learned and what we got from that, how powerful the experience is, and what we want to do with our lives now that we had this experience alone. So that happens. Go ahead.
I have the link posted, but it's pretty long for those driving in the car. It's eventbrite.com/e sacred solo online. So it's in the show descriptions. It's the link to this. Didn't you say you had a promo code for Moments of Clarity with Tiffany guests?
If they go, what they're going to get is a 50% discount right now. If they go to the link and they click through the bar that says tickets, they'll see that there's a promo code to put in, and it'll give them 50% off.
What's the promo code?
Gosh, it's in there.
I love putting my show guests on the spot. Don't my listeners get a discount?
I will create a discount for you as soon as we get off the show, and I'll give I'll bump it up to 60%.
There we go.
And then the promo code will be Tiffany.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
I put my guests on the spot. I'm like, don't Moments of Clarity with Tiffany get listeners get a discount.
I think it's a great idea. So here, let's do it. Moments of Clarity. This is what I'll do. I'll put it in right now. The promo code will be Moments of Clarity, and I'll give everybody 60% off the price.
It went up from 50 to 60. I got you guys.
Not bad, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a great thing to do because it's a powerful experience of learning, and then you get to meet people here from California and people from New York. Maybe we'll get some people from Florida, and everybody's doing something really, really cutting edge for themselves. It's really extraordinary, and it's really, it's so exciting and soulful and fulfilling to watch this happen. And then we all do it separately, but then we come back as a community.
Some of those retreats are great because you really meet some great people that are searching for the same thing as well. And it's not just solo, but then also coming back together as a group, I think would be very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I love groups. It's not that I'm anti-group. I think groups are fantastic, but I think the real work happens, by yourself. The real work is between the ears. And if we can create the conditions that you feel a sense of a group supporting, and you feel a sense of like, I'm there with you, and I'm, giving you a lot of structure. I'm giving you the architecture. It's like a bridge. It's like, I'm giving you the architecture of the bridge, but I'm asking you to cross the bridge.
Yeah, not jump off it.
Correct. And, it's amazing what happens. We had, one guy, he takes a solo. He was a guy who, he was on the verge of maybe going to grad school, and maybe he was going to go to an Ivy League school, and he goes from New York to Harvard, and he just disappears into the world of Harvard on his trip. And, he's at Harvard parties with professors, and then the next thing you know, he gets a job offer from California while he's on his solo, and they gave him a better job than he originally applied for. And again, these are things like, can I say, oh, well, his trip caused this to happen? I have no idea. But the synchronicity of the things lining up, that's what's really powerful. And when people get that this whole thing is energy work, and when you work with energy, things happen for you. It's just like, rubbing the genie, rubbing the lamp on one side and the genie comes out the other. If you get your energy right, you're affecting other things in other areas of your life passively. And this does that. It's quite extraordinary. Right. People, I've had clients come back and they say, I'm ready to get divorced. I've had clients come back from journeys and say, me and my husband had the best lovemaking of our lives. Everything is all about clearing and energy. And when we get to those places, which is what this is for, then, more energy happens. That's what momentum is about. It's like the energy breeds more energy.
Yeah. And we have a few minutes left. I'm just forewarning, but
sure.
What we project, how we feel about ourselves, when we are confident within ourselves, we're going to attract other confident people. We're going to attract good things to come to us. We're going to attract better things. When we feel like a wounded bird, we're going to attract other wounded birds because people relate or things of that nature. And maybe we block the positive things that could be coming our way, could be helping us reach our full potential in life because we don't feel worthy or we feel injured or whatever. So coming into ourselves, working on ourselves is really important because we project that confidence. We project that
Correct.
Sense of fulfillment that people are drawn to. And so we build up better opportunities for ourselves because we are alluding to the fact that we appear to know that we are in the right frame of mind. We know what we're doing. We're energetic. We're believing in ourselves, and other people are drawn to that. They like that. They want to be around that energy.
Yep. What you're talking about is a very powerful thing because with the sacred solo work, we're trying to give people a sense of a cinematic reality. It's as if you're in reality, but we're trying to get your mindset as if you're in a movie. Just take Wizard of Oz. Dorothy steps forward. Who shows up? The Scarecrow shows up. Then the Tin Man shows up. Then the lion shows up. This is what happens in stories. You put yourself forward, and then the characters that kind of pull you through the story show up. But the reason why that's so powerful in cinema and in literature is because life also works like that. It's just that we are not lining up with life in a way that gives us those things that we want, the way you just eloquently expressed. So what I'm trying to do is, confident or not, you might not be fully confident, but let the road do it. Just get moving. Let the road do the heavy work for you.
Extrovert or introvert. We have to wrap up, Michael. That's going to cut us off. Thank you so much
to you and your team. And sorry about the tech, and your audience is awesome.
No, I have some team. Yeah, but yes, everybody. Rough beginning though, but
that's part of taking a solo. You keep it moving.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we just got through the show. The show must go on. Live radio just doesn't allow error. We just got to roll with it and have a great sense of humor.
I appreciate you guys rolling with it and hanging in there.
We're back every Thursday and Friday, 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. Please be kind to yourself and to a stranger. You never know what they're going through. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, team. Thank you, friends, for tuning in. And please vote at People's Choice Podcast Award, podcastawards.com for 5 categories. I'll be promoting these instructions. Anyway, thanks so much. Be kind, and change can only happen when we stand together as one. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Moments of clarity. To yourself, be kind. It will please your mind. Don't put yourself down, time for a change. Believe in yourself, time to rearrange. Be your best friend, bring hope to your day. Lose your critic, get out of your way. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity. To yourself be kind, it will please your mind. Find your joy, trust in you. Put in the time, you'll see how you grow. Many kinds of love you get to define. Find self-love, you're so alive. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity.